So, just about to get underway in this men's 48 kilo class. David Goldstrom together with David Morgan. And first half, of course, the snatch. And looks to be the Frenchman who's going to be first away here, David. And Matam Samson Ndika, to give him his full name. Now, he entered an opening snatch weight of 120. But we go as high as 140 for one of the two Chinese competitors here. And the world snatch record, 153 from Shi Zhiyong, set this year. So it'll be fascinating to see whether, with the two Chinese in this lineup and the man from Korea, how close they can get to that mark.
So Samson, great name for a weightlifter. I wonder if he'd get stronger if he grew his hair.
He's been around for a while, competed in the Olympic Games back in 1996. He's really up against it here, though. One has to say that he's very much the outsider of the party.
So nobody else wanting 122.5, which means that Samson will have to sit and will be given 2 minutes to come out again and try and succeed with this opening weight.
David, just seeing Matam having a little swig there. Changes in nutritional preparation these days for lifting?
Well, nutrition for obviously for the lighter lifters is very, very important. I mean, we've already seen, you can see just by looking at the physiques, the condition that these guys are in, and obviously if you're going to lift in the 62 kilo class, you have to develop your body in such a way that you know, all the muscle that you've got is useful muscle that's lifting weight, yet you're still able to weigh in at 62 kilos, and obviously body fat doesn't do you any good. So for the lighter men, diet is extremely important. Most of them will be on low fat, high protein and high complex carbohydrate diet. So yeah, very important, especially for the lighter.
But in the 20 years you've been lifting, David, have you gone through the, you know, that sort of terrible hunger, pain?
Oh, what, for making weight? Oh, certainly. I've gone through everything, as have all athletes that have had to make weight. I mean, it's usually a combination of methods. I mean, this Samson, for example, who's now succeeded with his opening. I would think that in training he weighs probably 4 kilos over the limit, which is 9 pounds. And I would guess, I mean, he doesn't carry a lot of body fat, so you know, to get into the 62 kilo class, you'd probably have to use a combination of limiting the amount of food he eats, maybe 1 or 2 weeks before, and then, you know, in the last couple of days he would probably cut his fluid intake, and then if there's still a little bit more to go, perhaps sit in the sauna just for those last extra food sort of you know, grams. But it's a thin line. I mean, there's a certain amount of weight that you can lose and your performance still stays, and then when you go beyond that, you start to lose. And some people would say it's about 7% of your body weight, but obviously that varies depending on how much body fat you're carrying. If you're a heavier lifter, 7% is a lot more, and also you're carrying more fat, so it would affect you less. But with these guys, it's a very fine line.
First attempt for the 25-year-old Turk. Ismail Atmaka.
Yes, and there was a time, David, when a snatch of double body weight would be considered amazing, and now this is the second weight on the bar in this A group, and we're already over double body weight.
Almost, but not quite. I was just coming back to the nutritional thing when you were building up for the Commonwealth Games, and you know, you have to then start to really, you know, very much control your diet.
Well, that's right. Before the Commonwealth Games, I didn't drink any alcohol. I didn't eat any fast food. There was no McDonald's or anything like that. No sweet things. No fatty meats. That's mainly chicken and turkey. Because obviously, if you're trying to make a weight class, the idea is that you have the maximum amount of muscle in the right places for that weight class.
So if you think of that, and you have maybe as weightlifters 1 or 2, possibly 3 major competitions a year that you have to prepare and peak for. So if you think of being a jockey, you know, who these days jockeys ride 7 days a week. And okay, they're making a range of weights, but basically you've got to find a weight at which you can ride at, because that's really you're employed to ride horses around those sorts of weights. I mean, that must be nightmarish.
It must be. Yeah, it must be. I mean, weightlifting is a slightly different. It's a very different sport to horse riding, but and yeah, the requirements are different. You don't have to make the weight all the time.
So when you finished the Commonwealth Games, apart from having a good drink, did you go and have a good meal?
Yes, I went out with my girlfriend, and my first course in my first meal was chocolate fudge cake with ice cream. My main course was chocolate fudge cake with ice cream, and you can guess what I had for dessert, can't you?
Nothing like a bit of denial to make you look forward to one or two of your favourites. Now, second attempt. I think he can do this. This is inside his personal best by some 5 kilos. Better. Yes, he just had to correct by walking forward to get himself back under the bar, but that's okay. Just has a slight problem, David, in the sense that does he take 5 kilos now to sort of get him back to where he might have wanted to be?
This is the decision for the athletes and the coaches to make. Let's go back to your diet, the diet question. I mean, it's obviously important that as a weightlifter you have the muscles in the places that are required, or the important places that are required, and that you avoid doing certain exercises. You know, you don't really want to build the arms up too much or the chest up too much, because all the power in weightlifting comes from all the driving force comes from the legs and the lower back, and the arms really are just acting as supports, really, hooks on the bar, the hands, and just to support the bar, not actually get it overhead.
So Matam, who first represented Cameroon but then took French citizenship, and the benefit of being supported by the French Federation has certainly helped him to improve, but he's got a long way to go to really compete with the likes of the men he's up against today.
Yes, I'm surprised he took 127.5 actually, because he missed 122.5. When he did it, it wasn't really convincing. Perhaps a 2.5 kilo jump would have been more sensible.
So, Suleimanov of Azerbaijan coming out. Just to bring you up to date with 1 or 2 of the results in the B group earlier on, Diego Salazar of Colombia snatched 127.5 kilos in his first attempt, and in his second attempt lifted 132.5 kilos. So technically at this particular moment in the B group, who's leading the competition. 132.5 kilos, that's not a bad Not a bad effort. I think the likes of Matam might be in trouble.
Well, this man's he's never really been. I mean, he's always up there, and on his day he can take medals, but he's been very unreliable with his attempts in the past. And again, perfect example there of how the snatch isn't just about the strength to get the bar to arm's length. Bags of strength there. The bar was easily taken to arm's length, but really didn't put himself in the position that he needed to be in to fix that weight overhead and keep it there.
So, Alexander Lichwald of the Ukraine, European bronze medalist this year, and achieved that bronze medal with the help of 132.5 kilos on the bar. So just coming in a little bit lower, nice and quick. That was okay, but you could do it better.
Yes, just a little jump back there.
Only 24, so really even now still not at his prime. But we've seen over the last few seasons definite signs of improvement from the Ukrainian squad. And now Armenia. Danielin. Still a teenager, so still technically in the junior rank. Third in last year's Junior World Championships. And that probably is about the best result so far. But he looks strong enough there, David.
I'd be interested to know, what did he actually do in the Junior World Championships? Have you got the results at hand? Or
we can do that very shortly. I think
he's young. It'd just be interesting to see how much he's improving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a year on because it was last year's Junior World Championship, so it'll take us a bit longer to work out the statistic, but we'll get there in the end, as they say.
So Suleymanov failed with his first attempt. Wasn't strength, managed to get the bar very high.
I'll just answer your question about that. 125 a year ago, he snatched.
So he's opened on 130, so he's moving well. And what actually won the Junior World Championships?
Last year, because this was his best result, was 130 on the snatch.
Kilos. So is he still a
junior?
Still a junior?
Yes.
So moving ahead then. Perhaps somebody else to watch for the next Olympic Games.
So Suleymanov, as you suggested, David, not the most consistent of performers, but second time of asking. And this man who more often than not flatters only to deceive, also has a brother, Hafiz Suleymanoglu, who lifted in the Turkish team. But this is the current Turk on action and on duty today. So we're still on this 130 kilo mark, which means that it's still the man from the B group, David, who's got the advantage. Diego Salazar. And this man
no, it's just not there today. Not really able to get enough height on the bar to fix it overhead.
Well, still the Asian champion, the European champion Leonidas Sabanis, the Korean Im Yong-soo, the other Chinaman, Su Feizhang and Stefan Georgiev, all to start. But here is Georgiev. Well, if he's in good shape, David, they're going to find him hard to deal with. Born in the Bulgarian capital, Sofia. World champion ages ago. Well, 1997. It was the days of the old category. Since then, he's won a European title. Second in Europe this year to Sabonis.
Well, that's the most confident lift we've seen today. Very, very good start with 132.5.
Third in the world last year.
Just shows you how great a lift can look when everything's in the right place.
And that equals the weight that he lifted in the spring in Antalya. So he's starting here on the weight that he finished on. So maybe he's come here to really give it a really good shot at it. Now the Korean embassy is not doing any, the North Korean embassy, I should say, the People's Republic of Korea, not doing too much business today in the center of Warsaw because they've evacuated it into the hall here. And they've already had one championship go their way when Ri, their young 53 kilo lifter, took the women's title a couple of hours ago. And they'll be hoping for double success here, but that's not the start that he would have hoped for.
Im Yong. Yes, so not the start that he would have liked. The bar now at 135 kilos. Remember, these men weighed in at under 62 kilograms, and we're now approaching the 300-pound mark, which is actually 136.5 kilos. So the bar now at 297 pounds. So well over double body weight.
In trouble. I'm very interested to see the performance of Li Mao Sheng when he starts his campaign. I mean, he was a terrific winner at the Asian Games, total up 322.5 kilos. Very impressive. Well, still Salazar is the man who leads by virtue of his lighter body weight over Georgiev. Georgiev, who had that first success at 132.5, but he came in right on the limit, smack on 62 kilos. So I suspect he was visiting the sauna in the early hours.
This,
quite a lot of men quite tight to the limit. So this boy's 61.90.
Of course, this would give him the lead, make him the first to succeed at this weight, and of course overtake the man who lifted earlier on today in the B group.
Yeah, so he's going to get a decent result whatever happens by the looks of things.
Well, again, plenty of strength, but he just over-pulled. If we get to look at it in slow motion, he just at the top of the pull, he pulls back, just to gain that backward momentum on the bar. And of course,
interesting to see that. Interesting to see that just from the side. We might get a better view of it here.
Yeah, you see, the problem is, David, when you pull the weight off the floor and it feels heavy, the tendency is to lean back on it, which of course will help you gain more height, but it just creates that backward momentum, which becomes impossible to hold. So he's got to, next lift, he's got to do exactly the same, but he's just got to guard against the tendency to lean back and just drive upwards with the shoulders so that the weight kind of slots into the right place.
Well, this weight that the Korean is about to attack is all he achieved in the Asian Games, and that's much better.
The snatch is such a great lift when it's executed properly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, the speed, but the precision is so important.
Just sort of, just to put it into perspective, I mean, the amount of power that these guys, because this isn't just lifting a weight, this isn't just lifting 300 pounds off the floor, it's lifting 300 pounds off the floor at immense speed. I mean, that bar takes less than a second to travel overhead. And the power that you need in the legs, to, you know, the strength and power you need to generate that kind of speed with that kind of weight is immense. And when you consider that these athletes are weighing under 10 stone, it just gives you an idea.
Yeah, 9 3/4, 136 and a bit pounds.
So just yeah, so 9-10.
So Suleimanov, last attempt for the Azerbaijani. How many times have we seen that happen with him? And that's a very typical statistic for him, unfortunately, David. 1 out of 3. And so it's Im Yong-soo who leads at the moment from Diego Salazar and Stefan Georgiev, who are 132.5 kilos. Then Lichwald and Danielin on 130 with Suleimanov, who's just finished. So Lichwald now. Last attempt in the snatch for 135. He weighs 61.90, so it wouldn't have got the lead anyway.
Yeah, see, this is one of the things about weightlifting. It's very important to learn the technique early on in your career, because it's very difficult to change once you've developed the bad patterns, and you'll find that the lifters that are successful time and time again are the ones that get their lifts in, and the ones that get their lifts in are the ones who aren't hit and miss. You know, you've got the strong athletes that sometimes get it right, but then you've got people like, you know, Boevsky in the 69 kilo class who's strong, but he's also got perfect technique, and he seems to, which is one of the reasons why he pulls it out every time.
So now the Armenian.
Very promising youngster, though. I mean, already achieved 5 kilos more than he did in the Junior Worlds last year. If he could get this, that would be a huge improvement.
Just coming up to 10 seconds now. 9, 6.
Exactly the same as before. Lean back at the top of the pool.
Just maybe not quite confident enough, not quite sure enough about doing the job, and yeah, perfect. Exactly as you described, David. Just leant back and lost it.
Yes, just at that top of the pool, you see, you can see at the back. What he needed to do was keep his shoulders over the bar as he was driving up, and the weight would have just slotted in nicely over his head. So, Georgiev, well, for my money, so far, although he hasn't lifted the most yet, he's certainly looked the most impressive. His first snatch technique was perfect. Everything looked strong. Everything looked in the right place.
Well, he on the evidence of what we've seen, he actually looks in pretty good nick, and that's, you know, both physically and mentally. I mean, he's looking confident on the stage. But it's amazing, isn't it? You look at the size of the weight, and look how tiny he is. I mean, 62 kilos. It's, you know.
Yes, and of course we've now gone over the 300-pound mark. This is 137.5 kilos, so 303 pounds. And this guy that weighs under 62 kilos has got to take it over his head in less than a second. I mean, it's incredible.
Oh, so close. He needed that lift.
I mean, that extra 5 kilos there made all all the difference, and it'll be interesting to know what... Now this is... I think what's happening there is linked in with something that we were talking about earlier on. I don't think he's injured. I think what's happened is his calf just has cramped.
Cramped, yeah.
Which is why the coach is just bending his foot back to just relieve the cramp. And this is, see, this is one of the problems with coming down in body weight. If you just tip it over too much, you can... this is what can happen.
Well, he said, he's right on the limit, 62 kilos, so he's obviously had to work a bit.
Obviously had to sit in that sauna, and maybe he's had to lose maybe half a kilo more than he would have liked to. And of course, between the weigh-in and the competition, there's a 2-hour gap in which you can drink and you can eat. But obviously, if you haven't been eating and drinking that much, it's not good to drink too much and get that bloated feeling when you're competing.
And he's got about 1 minute and 15 seconds because it looks to me as if he is going to follow himself, which means that nobody else wants 137.5, and by the nobody else I mean the likes of China's Li Maosheng, Sufei Zhang, and of course Leonidas Sabanis, very popular, personable Greek lifter, and good to see him be able to mix it with the Chinese, but I think it's going to be a good fight, to be honest. Now, what we need is Georgiev just to manage to get through this. It's a little crisis.
It'd be nice to see Georgiev do this because he's pretty strong in the clean and jerk. So if he can just kind of stay with them, hang on in there with this lift, then it just makes the competition a lot more interesting later on. So, stretched out.
20 seconds. Enough time for him to go through his own personal ritual.
Just looks over there and checks the time for himself.
He'll work hard for this. Yes, he's worked hard and he's got the reward. And how important that lift is, we will not know for a while, but I'm very glad that he's got it. Nice to see it. So Bulgarians everywhere will be relieved that Stefan Georgiev has managed to get that 137.5. Well, we stay with the Europeans for the first appearance of the European Leonidas Sabanis for Greece. Of course, this sport of weightlifting of major importance to all the Greeks as they build up towards Athens and the Olympics. They have a fantastic new weightlifting centre they're building at a place called Nicaea, not too far away from Piraeus.
Well, 140 kilos, that was very unconvincing.
Yes, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not worried about him. I think he'll pull himself together and sort this out. I know it's not the way you want to start, but I've seen him do this before and I've seen him come through. So he's got time though. The good thing is now with the Chinese entering, he's got time.
Yes, the Chinese is coming in at 47. He doesn't have to follow himself, so he's got time to talk to his coaches, decide what went wrong, and hope come back and put it right.
Now here's a young man who really did show up in the early, or I should say mid-90s, twice a junior world champion in 96 and 97, has competed in the Worlds before. You've got to go back 4 or 5 years to find that. I haven't seen much of him since then. Now only 22, so the first of the two Chinamen, but he's the junior of the two.
Well, he's also having problems with so the significance of that 137.5 for Georgiev.
Yeah, they might not get that far away. Well, I still think Li Maosheng's my man. I remember Li Maosheng way back 1995 in China when he was a really young, he was a teenager, and he was an exciting prospect. Then he sort of lost his way and clearly, with the performance in the Asian Games, if he's going to do, if he's here in that sort of condition, and that's only a few weeks ago in Busan, then he's going to be a hard nut to crack. Well, plenty of time.
We're going to find out now very shortly.
This for the lead. Nice lift. I think he's up for it. He's got the little pop idol quiff on the hair there. Well, how would you assess this, David?
Well, I'd assess it as being a much closer competition than perhaps we. I mean, we said it was going to be close, but I think it's going to be even closer than we thought.
Well, I hope that's right. Now, I really hope that Sabonis now has had a couple of minutes, can get this, because I think this is really important to keep him in the hunt now. Oh, that's much better. Yakabu screaming at him. He has to take a few steps forward, but he's got it.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is he's got a total. He's in there now.
Well, the other thing is that he's lighter than Su Fei Zhang, slightly heavier than Li Mao Sheng. Li Mao Sheng with 61.50 has got an awful lot going for him. But Sabonis is a hell of a good competitor, and he's going to fight him all the way, I'm sure. I mean, I think Sabonis would dearly love this world title.
Oh, for sure.
So Li Mao Sheng leads on body weight ahead of Sabonis. Has had one lift. Sabonis has used 2 of his 3 lives. Su Fei Zhang about to use his second, but even if he gets this, he's only going to be bronze.
Both arms bent and then locked again. It'll be interesting to see. Well, no, 2-1 against, so he's got to repeat that.
And the other thing, David, is that the Korean Im Yong-soo has actually only used 2 of his lives. So there it is, you see. He's going to come out and take 140. Im Yong-soo at 61.75. He's in the same sort of situation as Su Fei Zhang, heavier than both Sabonis and Li Mao Sheng. But at the moment, Georgiev might be just getting a bit nervous, but they're only 2.5 kilos ahead of him.
Yes, they're not way ahead. He's strong in the clean and jerk. He's done some big lifts.
You know, the others are using their lives up quite quickly here, so if we get a lot of red and not a lot of white, as they say, Georgiev can still be in the hunt. But now the Korean.
It really came back well, didn't it?
Well, that's the best of the 3. No question. I mean, that is the failure at 135. The second 135 was good, but he's certainly done his work in those minutes that he's had while everybody else has been going on. That's a brilliant lift. And 140, now that's 5 kilos up on what he achieved against Li Mao Sheng in the Asian Games. Now, Li Mao Sheng actually won the Asian Games snatch division with 140. But he's sauntering, isn't he? You sense that he thinks this is his stage. This is my day. Well, he can saunter, but he's got a lift as well.
Of course, if he succeeds with this, it means that the Greek would have to do 145 because he's heavier.
And you are looking at the man who is the world record holder in the clean and jerk. Ooh. So Georgiev will have grinned a little bit more now. And so I think will Sabonis, because that's Sabonis now has to go for, I would think, 142.5. Not to win it, but to stay right on his tail.
This could win it. Sabonis does this, then the ball is back in Li Mao Sheng's he'll have to do the 142.5, so the motivation is extremely high. We could be looking at the gold medal here.
Well, I said to you, didn't I, when he failed the first one, I said, I'm not worried. You know, I've seen this happen before. Now, can he execute? No, he can't. So we got 3 men on 140, and Georgiev only 2.5 kilos behind. So this is turning out to be, as we hope, David, you know, a real cracking fight between these men. And Mao Sheng, well, what's he going to do? Even if he gets this, he's only going to be 2.5 ahead of Sabanis, 2.5 ahead of Im Yong-soo, and 5 ahead of Georgiev. So he hasn't got away.
Well, he's got the gold medal already, though, with the 140 because of his lighter body weight. But I think even though he's the world record holder in the clean and jerk, I think he'd still like to get this in.
Yeah,
then it would be 2.5 and body weight. Which puts him in a, as the world record holder in the clean and jerk, obviously puts him in a great position.
Yeah, the cushion of comfort becomes that much bigger. Well, he was looking up there for divine guidance, but no one was at home.
And still wins the championship and still has body weight. So
yes, he's won the snatch championship, but as you said, 3 on 140, all the medals decided by body weight. Mao Sheng gets it ahead of Sabanis, with Im Yong-soo in 3rd place, and Georgiev, well, I think he's going to be relieved, happy.
But hang on a minute, forgot about this man, of course, because remember and of course we forgot about him. He failed with 140 twice. He's now jumped to 145, which is seemingly crazy.
Well, one can only assume that the coaches and Su Feijing know what they're about.
Well, this is amazing, because 140 would have kept him in there.
Well, his PB says that he's capable of 147.5. Maybe, if his technique's good. So, having forgotten about him altogether, I now can say correctly, David, that Li Mao Sheng has definitely won.
Having said that, though, I can see the reason why they allowed him to do it. It's because they've got 2 Chinese athletes in the class, one of which has already won the gold medal. So I think they decided that because.
But why wouldn't they put him at, why not put him at 142.5 and keep him in the fight? I mean, it's still a bit.
Well, 142.5 actually would have won the gold medal.
Well, no, it wouldn't, because he's 61. Oh, yes, it would have done.
Because the highest.
Yeah,
it was a kind of a crazy move, but you could see the reasoning behind it. They figured, we've already got the gold medal. This guy has done 147.5, so.
Well, there you can see 5th place, Diego Salazar of Colombia, who lifted in the B group, and that's a very creditable result. 132.5 as it's turned out. Georgiev, well, 137.5. But look at all that red there. What's that? 5, 9, 11. 3rd trouble in the snatch, David, and that's a repetition of elbow problems.
Well, I think